you're welcome to Inside Abia with me, Agatha. Your Excellency, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
So, Your Excellency, it looks to me like your dream for your state is to put it on the world map for trade.
If you want to develop your people, you must leverage their strengths and what they have, not only comparative advantage but competitive advantage, because competition is the name of the game. So you can't take away trade and commerce from my people. And we have, like I said earlier, 15 markets. The problem of these markets is one, access, and that is why we are on the access roads, the Fox Road, the Samek, the Umule, the MCC roads. All of them are to ventilate our area. Then we are on Ungwa Road to ventilate Ungwa Road Market. We're also doing something around the Che Road to ventilate the new Che Road Market. Che Road Market is a beauty to behold, and it was delivered through a PPP arrangement. So we must remodel these markets to see if we can make them extend business hours. If we extend business hours from 6 to 9, 10, 11, that is something. And who knows what happens tomorrow if we could deal with that. And these are markets that service not only Nigerians, but other countries in West Africa and Africa. They come here. Yes, if you go to area, you will see materials for export. You will see them bagging things for export and all of that. And that is why we have set up the Abia Trading Company, which is the warehousing company that will make sure the quality control is good, and that will make sure that the statistics about how much is exported from Abia can be included in the National Bureau of Statistics and all of that. So we are remodeling the markets. We are creating access roads. We are providing finances through the Abia SME Bank, and we are also trying to provide power.
I was going to get to that.
All right.
As an industrial hub, I can't see how you'll be able to achieve your dream without power. And power is a Nigerian problem that has defied, I don't know why, it has just defied solution. Now, for you as the governor of Abia State, with industry as your number one source, how do you want to make this happen without power?
First, what is my vision? My vision is to provide 4 alternatives so that my people can choose as they choose network providers in GSM. So I must give them option.
In terms of power?
In terms of power. So I first collaborated with the agency in charge of rural electrification. And then we set up the area independent power, which is there today in our area, to service the Umehile Bushu cluster and the activities around our area. 2, of course, the EEDC, NEPA, that is the second option. 3, we have done everything to make sure we rein in geometrics, because I was lucky to inherit an independent power plant driven by geometrics that had generated power but could not distribute, but they had the distribution infrastructure. So we had to follow them. I've been to Egypt, I've been to Cote d'Ivoire, I've been to South Africa twice. Luckily, my last trip to South Africa was blessed with Afrexim Bank closing the financing gap that geometrics need to begin to
distribute power.
Yes. So, and they have the turbines were sent to America for servicing because they had stayed in one place for many years. And I can tell you on good authority that those turbines are back and the engineers are working on it. So, as I speak, geometrics, one option, area independent power, second option, EEDC, third option. The fourth option is to see if it's possible, because Abia is richer in gas than we are in crude oil. So can we power our activities using gas? But there's a major social disconnect that leads to making it economically unviable for people to invest in power. Because the critical question is that the question he asked about the hen and the chicken, which one comes first? Do you need power for industrialization, or you need industrialization for power? You know, so people say put power, we will industrialize. Some people say industrialize and power vendors will come. Just build, set up an industrial cluster and power vendors will come. And that is perhaps the major magnet that led to the success of Geometrics, because we envisioned the most audacious economic city in West Africa, the Enyimba Economic City, that promises to provide 650,000 jobs. It will close both economically and geographically the gap between Abia and Port Harcourt. 9,200 square meters of land, has railway crossing it from Port Harcourt
in this city.
Oh yes, One Wharf.
Is that a future plan?
Oh yes, it's in place. I mean,
that's part of your master plan project.
It's part of my master plan project, but it has gone far. The federal government
you started it.
The federal government has equity of about I think 10 billion in it. It's about the
Where
most.
is it located?
Between Abia and Port Harcourt. You know, and it was designed by the same set of guys that did Dubai, Subara Juran in Singapore, and it's driven by a private sector entity, but with government impetus. It has a life of its own in the House of Assembly. They can, you know, just a place you can walk, live, and play. It has its own. It's supposed to have its own power, hospital, seaports, dry ports, and all those things within that enclave, universities and all those. And people have started investing. That's where we have the Nibra shoe. Nibra means Nigeria Brazil Shoe Company. They have built infrastructure and we're waiting for them to take off. That's where we have the British University. That's where you have Galaxy Company Limited, a Chinese village that has 7 companies. They started with 2.
I'm just surprised to hear all of this, because these are not things that have been out there. I mean, so I'm asking the question, if you're doing all these things, how come it's not out there? Because
it's my fault.
It's your fault?
Yes.
Oh, you accept that?
Oh, yeah. Because I don't like to talk about these things, but they are there. But the impact is huge.
Bigger if a lot more people knew about it instead of all the negativity.
Maybe I begin to change.
You have to.
Maybe, sure. I'm amenable to change.
I'm glad to hear
I'm amenable to change. And I'm doing so because I am, without sounding modest, I have quite a few things to showcase, that we've been doing. And the fact, people don't look at statistics in Nigeria. People don't look at statistics. The GDP of Abia in 2010 was about 8 billion. By 2016, just 2 years after I became governor, it became 11 billion. It took a nosedive in 2020 on account of NSAS and COVID, and we got to 7 billion and all of that. But I'm sure it's on the rise. How come Abia became the third state in foreign direct investment in Nigeria?
Really?
Oh, yes. These things, investors won't come to your state just by begging or because you are there. They have to say things. So people with the money are looking at what we are doing. I find it difficult to live a life where my words will go ahead of my action.
Because the narrative out there, which is what I came to see, is so different from what is on the ground. We went out at night and there was a nightlife. The place was bubbly, and I thought, and I didn't have gun-toting policemen following me around. And it was relative. There were a lot of checkpoints, there was security. I will ask this because, again, it's one of the things that is out there. When I was doing my research on Abia State, where you were asked what your achievement is in 6 years, I thought it's good. You see, if I'm going to talk to you, I was going to ask all the questions. I was totally horrified when I saw it online. So let me not pretend that I didn't see it. To ask you, what did you mean when you said companies like Chicken Republic and the cinema and all of that are here now? What really did you mean?
Okay. Before 2015, it was difficult to find a fast food outlet except maybe one. Banks relocated, closed shops.
Why?
Everybody, because of so much insecurity about that notorious bandit called Osisi Kanku in those days, and all of that. Nobody could do anything because of kidnapping. People moved away. People literally moved away. City closed down. Between 2015 and now, we have systematically and gradually spoken to the issues, one, of security, two, of infrastructure in a solid way. We pioneered the policy of compulsory drainage for roads. I don't mind how many years it takes me, I have to do the drainage, because the only way to improve on your stock of infrastructure is to deliver roads that will outlive your tenure. But if you don't do roads that will outlive your tenure, you'll be running as if you want to catch your tail, in circles and nothing. Therefore, in areas where we have had water sitting for upward of 5-6 years, we do rigid pavement. For some roads, we do lengths of roads, end to end with rigid pavement. And one other feature, which many people do not understand, is that if you do a road and you don't do the adjoining roads, what you have done is to deliver a cul-de-sac, because it will lead to nowhere. My first day on the desk as governor, I asked myself, oh yes, I'm going to do roads, but which roads? So I said, oh no, I'm not going to do roads that will lead to the house of any politician. If that will make them angry, that's okay. But I must do roads that will lead to our economic centers.
That will open up
the markets. And so I'm on Fox Road because of our area. I'm on MCC because of our area. I'm on Samek because of our area. I'm on Ongwa Road because of the new market. So if it's not leading to this, then I ask myself, 60% of our clientele comes from Akwa Ibom, they could come from Cameroon, Oron, then Akwa Ibom, or northern part of Nigeria through Cross River and all of that. And the major channel that will bring them into Abia State was blocked, because it's a federal road, blocked from Aba to Ikotepmene, blocked from Imahia to Ikotepmene. But I had to quickly do the road leading from Akwa Ibom into Abia State, at least a channel. And that changed the narrative. And when Akwa Ibom people started coming, I had to do a triplet of roads that will yield them into the city without hold up. So I did a Here Road, I did Omoala Road, I did Ukebu Road. These three roads are standing and you'll see them. So now they have assessed Aba. How are they going to get into area? I went to Fox Road. That was what got me into Fox Road initially. So if you go to a place like the area, despite the problem I have on Fox Road, which I'm going to fix between now and the end of the dry season, you will see that we've made an attempt on Fox Road. There is Omule, there is Tony Mas, there is Samek, all of them, there is MCC, all of them within that neighborhood. And the idea is to ventilate our area. If you go to city center opposite CKC, we have done Ochefu, we have done Owerenta, we have done Wicks, all of them within the neighborhood. So you're not on any road,
so
and then
all the feeder roads are
exactly, but then it has to be within that. So I don't want to do one road in the north, one in the west, in the same city. Let me tidy up a neighborhood. It will support waste management. It will support ventilate for the economy of that area and all of that. So these are not things that are ideas that are very easy to come by. But then the reward I got for all of this is that businesses started returning. Some old ones started reopening. And then I started seeing some that were never in our system. And I said, well, after all, when Noah wanted to build his ark, he had to send a dove to pick a leaf. So the story is not about a dove and the leaf. The story is that there is dry land.
Somewhere.
Exactly. But when you say this for people that are not intellectually deep, They say, the governor says his achievement is that there is Chicken Republic. And
So the all these things that you have done have brought back a lot of
a
these
lot of these
franchises
businesses,
and businesses, and they employ your
they
people,
are
of course.
called indices or concomitants of sustainable development. Because, I mean, how do you calibrate it?
It's a way of
How do you,
measuring.
nobody will come and open his outlet because I'm his in-law or because he likes me. No, it has to make meaning, and return on investment has to be strong. So that was exactly what I meant by that. And
Thank you for clarifying.
thank you very much.
So you're actually following a master plan.
Of course,
some sort.
and I'm ruthless about it.
The question I would ask you is, have you sold your master plan to your people? Do they understand what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing? Do they see your vision? I would like to go into a bit of detail about this master plan. What is it about? What is it hinged on? What propelled what do you want to achieve with that?
Okay, the master plan is our strategy to create, like I said earlier, a better life for our people.
Yes.
Leveraging those things they can do better than other people, and compete better than other people. And these constitute the 5 pillars of development, based on which this government and the governments in future can align their thoughts and strategies to achieve the vision. And the pillars are, first, trade and commerce. I said it before that, somebody like Freddie Forsyth noticed it. And in fact, alluded to the fact that our people are better traders than Lebanese.
Yeah.
So I can't throw away trade and commerce. If I want to develop my people and create a better life, I must be able to enable that. 2, small manufacturing, small and medium scale enterprises. This is actually where our major strength lie. And 2 years into this administration, even the vice president acknowledged Abia as the SME capital of Nigeria when he came here. So the third one is oil and gas, because we have a little oil around Owaza.
That's not even known. I didn't know that.
No, we have some oil, but much more gas. In fact, the gas that is powering Bonnet is drawn from Abia.
Really?
And piped, yes. The fourth one is agriculture.
That seems underplayed here.
It's agriculture.
Are you
Yes,
big on agriculture in Abia?
of course. We understood also. Strategy is about 2 major things: culture and geography. Because you cannot be strategizing on how to fish if you are in Sahara Desert.
True.
So that's geography. And then culture, my people. Abia is one of the smallest states in that area. So we cannot be talking about big time, and all of that. But we can be strong on value addition. And I'll tell you about that when we can ask people to crop cocoa and bring here for us to turn into Bonvita. And I will tell you what we have done in that regard, and it will shock you. But the under pillar in all of this is education. Education is both a pillar and an enabler. Because if you want an agriculturist, you must educate the mind to think like an agriculturist. If I am talking about trade and commerce, I must get to a point where my people can embrace e-commerce.
Yes.
Education. So if the same thing with small and medium, we must imbibe modern ways of manufacturing so that we can compete. We must automate as we did in Enasco. So these are my 5 pillars. And then I have the enablers, which are the things you do every day, the roads. So now, if road is enabler, what is it enabling? It must enable trade and commerce, so it must lead to the market. It must enable small and medium scale enterprises, so it must lead to the manufacturing hubs. And in that case, the roads may be cement roads so that it can carry the ASU load of manufactured goods or raw materials.
So it's all now starting to come together.
Exactly.
It's now making sense.
Exactly. So health, factory workers. When people are coming to invest in Abia, if the person's wife is sick or and then the son is sick, what do we do? So there must be strong healthcare system. So health for me is to enable trade and commerce and enable agriculture and enable whatever and enable
Because
education.
for you to even be productive, you have to be healthy.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So ease of doing business. I must do tax reforms. Incentives. I must do tax reforms. I must also digitalize my tax collection system. I must do away with multiple taxation. I must be able to speak to how long it takes to get a certificate of occupancy. I must be able to remove all the bureaucracies, yes, and whatever. And that is why we were one of the first states that established a one-stop shop. Oh yeah, we have a PPP office and a one-stop shop. And that's why we are number 3 in FDI.
That's another statistic within.
Yes, so these are the enablers. So security, nobody can do anything. So security is a very strong enabler. So you now see my pillars, and the pillars are resting on these enablers.
Now I can understand the master plan.
That is the master plan.
I mean, that really explains how everything comes together. Your Excellency, your plans are very laudable. I mean, listening to you, one would know you know exactly what you want. But there seems to be some kind of disconnect, I think. I mean, that's the way I see it. So the question is, do people understand your master plan? Your people, do they understand? If they do, aren't they helping along? And if they don't, why don't they? Have you tried to sell it?
Yeah. I'm one of the most engaging governors. I do town hall meetings regularly, and I speak to everybody. I speak to students. I speak to traders. I hold radio phone-in programs, no holds barred.
You do?
No holds barred. Ask any question.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Quite often, much more than anybody that has ever been governor here. We had an opportunity for people to test the strength of what we are doing and our vision. And we had an election, and people came, even the naysayers, all of them came from across Nigeria, and they were shouting, including claiming the roads that we did.
That's because you did not bring press.
But the people now said no. And they said, no, we'll bring you the papers on Monday. The people said, no, not on Monday, because the election was on Saturday. We saw the governor here doing it, entering the gutter with us and helping us excavate whatever, and we did it together. So communication, there is a problem. I've not been up and about, because again, I don't know. Like I said, from my background as an academic, there are things you don't.
You take them for granted that these are the basic things that you're supposed to do. No need making all the noise about
exactly. If you listen to some of my comments early in my administration, I even alluded to what I just said earlier today. I said, what am I shouting about? Roads and this and that. But there are things which you need to deal with. There are things, strong things that will differentiate you from the ordinary and pedestrian person. Unfortunately, these are not things you know, but it's okay.
You also owe it to your people, both at home and abroad, to let them know what you're doing.
Exactly.
While I understand that your background is not as a politician, you are in those shoes now, and so you owe us to tell us exactly what
I will tell, I assure you.
and I'm really happy that you've taken the time to do this. I'd like to say a very big thank you to you for taking the time to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Agatha. Thank you.
And thank you for introducing me to the next phase of my journey. Thank you for being my first.
You're welcome. We've missed you.
It was really nice to sit down with you.
Thank you.
So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I look forward to our future interviews when we'll be addressing specifics.
I feel obliged. Thank you.
You're still watching Inside Abia with Agatha, and we have been talking to His Excellency, the Governor of Abia State. We've heard about his master plan. We've heard about his vision, his mission, what he still intends to do until his tenure is over. Now, for the next few weeks, we'll be looking at all of this sector by sector. We'll be going around Abia State. And hopefully, by the end of this series, you'll be able to get a better understanding of the vision, the mission, and what drives His Excellency. Until next week, when we come your way again, bye-bye and see you next week.